Guys, this is one of my most favorite DIYs. I absolutely love this. It's one of those old-fashioned Carpenters toolboxes, but it really has so many uses. You can plant them up as planters, you can use them as cooler boxes, pop in all your beers, put a little beer opener on the side, fill it with magazines, fill it with ice, do whatever you want to do with it. As for the materials that you need, I've got one length of 1.8 meter long, 22 by 144 wide. Now make use of the guys at Builders, follow my cutting list and they will cut it all to size for you. We're also going to need a 22mm dowel stick, some wood glue, some 3.5 by 40mm screws, and some wood filler. As for dressing and sealing the timber, it's entirely up to you. For this DIY, I'm going to be using some Fired Earth Woodworks. It's a sealer and stain all in one, and I'm going to be applying that with a paintbrush. As for the tools that you need, this is what I used. I've got a scraper for the wood filler, a pencil, a tape measure, a clamp, a screw pilot, a 22mm spade bit, and I've got a cordless drill, and I'm using the Multi-Evo cordless drill, which is really cool because it's interchangeable. So I need a jigsaw and I need a sander, and these guys just basically pop into place. So I've got one power device with 3 different head attachments for this. If you want to find out more about those tools, check out the Builders online store. Let's get started with the DIY by clearing the workspace and move all these guys out the way. Here we've got our sample. We've got 2 long pieces on the side. Those are the ones which are 400 long. Then we've got 2 pieces on the edge here, which are 280 long. And then we've got the piece on the bottom, which is 356. Now 356 is basically 400 minus those 2 thicknesses of the timber, which is 22. Let's see what we're going to do is we're going to take these side pieces and mark up the positions of where we need to drill our holes, and on these side pieces here as well. Let's do these 2 pieces first. So we're going to line that up on the edge and score my pencil line all the way down, and then straight away I know that that is the thickness of the timber, and I've got to make sure that when I drill my holes it's going to match up in the center line on the sides there, and on the base we're going to do exactly the same thing. X marks the spot. Okay, those 2 guys, let's put those aside, and then let's just mark out our side pieces, which all we need is 2 on the bottom there and at the top, as well as marking out where we're going to cut. I've chosen to go 35 down and pick on the center line. So let's just double check our measurements. We know the timber is 144, and then we'll measure 35 down. We now need to decide where we're going to get that diagonal line on the side here. As you can see, I've taken it, start from the edge point there, so I'm just going to use my timber as my marker again. So then we're going to look at this top section. Now, to make it easy, I just take 2 pieces of timber, and I'm going to go for the thickness of 2 pieces. So it's going to be around about 40 to 44 millimeters. And then again, you can use a ruler for this, or you can use the edge of your timber, and that's going to be our waste piece. And that's where we're going to cut off, and we're going to use the jigsaw for that. There you go, that's my marking all finished up. It's now time to start drilling all the holes and cut out the edges. Now, when you are drilling into timber, it is going to burst out on the bottom side. It's a good idea to make use of a scrap piece of timber, and that way it's going to protect the counter or the tabletop, whatever you're working on. You're not going to damage that, rather damage your scrap board. Now, when using a spade bit, there is going to be a lot of breakouts on the underside. So definitely make sure you use a scrap board and hold that down firm, and that'll stop that breakout on the underside of the board. Okay, so it's now time to trim off these edges so we can get those contours on the side, and this is where this really cool tool comes into place. Check out, I've got one driver section here, and that head pops off. We don't need that anymore for a while. And then I pop on the jigsaw head. Really cool function, ideal for a range of DIY applications. Okay, at this point it's now time to assemble. Now you do need to sand all these pieces. You can do it afterwards, or you can do it beforehand. I'm going to do it beforehand because it's quite difficult to get on the inside here, and then we can start assembling. Now when you are sanding, you can get a bit of damage on the underside as that board moves around onto the surface. I like to make use of some of this rubber matting, pop it down there, and it acts as a grippy surface to stop that board from moving around, as well as protecting the underside surface. Okay, that's all the sanding complete. It's now time for the fun part at last, and that's the assembly. We're going to start off with the base piece. Let's move that guy out the way, and we're going to put our 2 sides. We're going to pop those in on the side, bit of glue between the mating surface, and then drive our screws in from the outside and secure those down into place. And then we're going to follow that with our side pieces. And remember, wood glue in between the mating surfaces. Okay, all those screws are in. Now it's up to you. You can fill those holes with wood filler, or you can leave it open. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to fill it. What I like to do sometimes is actually just change up the color. Instead of going with a pine, I'm going to go with a darker wood filler. So while that wood filler is drying, I'm going to actually mark out where I want to trim my dowel stick. Now it's entirely up to you what length you want to do. You can finish it flush with the edge like that, or you can let it overhang slightly. I like it to overhang slightly, so we'll mark out approximately 10 to 15 mils on that side, mark a line, and I'll use my jigsaw to cut that off. I've got quite a nice snug fit there, so I'm actually quite happy with that. You can put some wood glue there as well. That'll also secure it permanently. Once that wood filler is dried, we're going to sand that down, and then it's time to stain and seal up the timber. The reason why we want to seal it is to actually protect that wood from the elements. Remember, if you're going to be using it as a planter, make sure you put some drainage holes on the underside so that the excess moisture can drain out. I'm using the Fired Earth Woodworks, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going for an ebony stain. Really cool stuff. It's a stain and sealer in one. It's water-based, so it's easy to clean, and it's non-toxic. Remember, always keep the brush strokes going with the grain of the timber. Let that dry, and then you can apply a second coat. It all depends on your final color. Remember, as you apply each coat, it's going to get slightly darker. All done, my stain is on, I've sealed it up, and I'm very happy with that. So cool, so easy to do. This project is ideal if you want to use it for gifts. What better way to present your present to somebody, either this as it is, or the present inside there, instead of those terrible cardboard boxes. Now remember guys, this is set up for a 400mm wide. You can go any size you want. We've got a much longer one here. All you need to do is change your cutting list and extend the piece of timber, obviously, and then get stuck in and get into your DIY. If you enjoyed this clip, like it, share it. You can also subscribe to the Builders Fan YouTube channel, where there's a range of product reviews and DIYs just like this for you to be inspired, give it a go, and get it done.